Hello everyone. I am starting a new lecture series on immunology and I will be covering in detail all the topics of immunology. In the first video, we will discuss about history of immunology, some scientists and their contribution to the field of immunology, the cells of the immune system, about hematopoietic stem cells and hematopoiesis in detail, regulation of hematopoiesis by various transcription factor and various cell surface markers. First, coming to the word immunity, it comes from the Latin word immunis, which means exempt or means prevention or means protection from infectious diseases. The earliest written reference of immunity dates back to 430 BC when Thucydides, a historian of that time, he wrote or he described plague in Athens and wrote that only those who recover from the plague could take care of the sick people because they will not contract the disease again. Then the first recorded attempt to deliberately induce immunity were performed by the Chinese and the Turks in 15th century against smallpox. What they did were they took the dried crust of smallpox pustules and those were either inhaled or inserted into small cuts in the skin. The process was known as variolation to prevent the disease, and the disease was prevented. The English physician Edward Jenner, he also did experiment. He found that milkmaids who had contracted the mild disease cowpox were immune to the severe form of the disease, that is smallpox. So what he did was he introduced fluid from the cowpox pustule into an 8-year-old boy and later intentionally infect him with smallpox. The child did not develop smallpox, and this experiment, it provided a major breakthrough to and paved the way for treatment or for prevention of the disease. The next major advancement was made by Louis Pasteur. His experiment was he developed some fowl cholera culture. He developed the culture and inject into chickens, which was fatal, and the chickens died. Then after few days he injected the same culture into chickens. They developed the disease, means they became ill but they recovered, means it was not fatal when the culture was inoculated into the chicken after few days time. What he did again was he prepared another fresh fowl cholera culture. Then in the previously exposed chicken he injected this fresh culture, but they were not they did not develop the disease and were protected. But in the unexposed or fresh chickens, they died of the cholera. So Pasteur hypothesized that aging had weakened the virulence of the bacterial pathogen, and the weakened or the attenuated strain can be injected to provide immunity. So the word vaccine was coined for the attenuated strain. The word vacca comes from the Latin word vacca, which means cow. The same experiment was done with anthrax bacillus also. And in 1885, Louis Pasteur injected the first vaccine to humans. The boy name was Joseph Mister with rabies virus preparation, and the boy later survived. He didn't develop the disease. Now coming to the cells of immune system. A successful immune response depends on the interaction between various cell types, like the innate immunity cells, which are the first line of defense, the antigen presenting cells, which present the foreign cells to the lymphoid cells, and the memory cells, which prevent future infection. All the mature blood cells, that is RBCs, granulocytes, macrophages, dendritic cells, lymphocytes, all of these cells, they originate from the hematopoietic stem cells, or in short form called as HSCs. Now, what is the characteristic of stem cell? The characteristic is that it can regenerate, or they have the capacity to self-renew the ability to differentiate into different cell types. Now, the stem cells are of various types: pluripotent, multipotent, or tissue-specific stem. The pluripotent stem cells, example is embryonic stem cell. These cells can regenerate into every specialized cell type. Multipotent stem cell, example is adult stem cell, that is hematopoietic stem cells. These cells can develop into different cell types of any particular tissue or organ. Then tissue specific stem cells, this can develop into particular cells of any tissue. Now coming to hematopoietic stem cells, the characteristics are they originate in the fetal tissue, present in the bone marrow of adult vertebrates. Then small amount are also present in spleen and liver in adults, and they are rare cell types, means less than one cell is present per 5 into 10 to the power 4 cells of the bone marrow. Their development is tightly regulated by signals received in the primary lymphoid organ, that is the bone marrow. Now, normally most hematopoietic stem cells are quiescent, that is they are non-dividing in nature. Only a small number of these cells divide to form the daughter cells. Now the daughter cells have two fate. Few daughter cells, they retain the stem cell characteristics, that is they can self-renew and have the ability to differentiate into different cell types, and few daughter cells, they are the progenitor cells with limited self-renewal capacity. The number of hematopoietic stem cells, they decrease with aging, and the hematopoietic stem cells display enormous proliferative capacity when there is increase in demand, for example when there is a massive blood loss or infection, etc. Now few terminologies. Long term HSCs or LT hematopoietic stem cells, they are the most quiescent, retain pluripotency throughout the life of the organism. Then short term HSCs or STHSCs, these are predominantly quiescent, means less quiescent than the LTHSCs, divide more frequently than the LTHSCs, and have limited self-renewal capacity, means self-renewal capacity is less than that of long-term HSCs. Now another term is multipotent progenitors, MPP. They have very limited self-renewal capacity, but they proliferate rapidly and give rise to both lymphoid and myeloid lineage. How the progenitor cells, how the LTHSCs, STHSCs and MPP, they give rise to myeloid and lymphoid cells is dependent on the various transcription factors we will discuss now. Now first we will look at the hematopoiesis. Now this is the bone marrow, this is the peripheral tissue, and this is the peripheral tissue. These are the hematopoietic stem cells. Now coming to this half, they can either develop into myeloid progenitor or lymphoid progenitors. Then the myeloid progenitor give rise to GM progenitor or granulocyte monocyte progenitor, eosinophil progenitor, basophil progenitor. From granulocyte monocyte progenitor, it will develop into monocyte and granulocyte, that is neutrophils. The myeloid progenitor can directly give rise to dendritic cells. From eosinophil progenitor, eosinophil, basophil progenitor, basophils. Then from megakaryocyte platelets, from erythroid progenitor, RBCs are developed. Also mast cells are developed in the periphery. From monocytes, either macrophages or dendritic cells are developed. This is the basic hematopoiesis which we all read. Then the hematopoietic stem cells in the lymphoid series, they can give rise to dendritic cells. Then it can develop into T and B cell progenitor, which can give rise to T helper cell, cytotoxic T cell, and B cell progenitor give rise to B cell, which develop the antibodies. Now these myeloid progenitor cells, these are the cells of the innate immunity, means they form the first line of the defense, and the lymphoid progenitor cells give rise to cells that forms the cells of the acquired immunity. Now the innate lymphoid cells, that is ILC, it has the property of both innate and acquired immunity. Now coming to regulation of hematopoiesis by transcription factors. Each step a hematopoietic stem cell take towards commitment to a particular blood cell lineage is accompanied by the genetic changes. Then HSCs are they maintain a large number of genes which are in the primed state. It means they are accessible to the transcriptional machinery. So as the cell progresses down a lineage pathway, the primed chromatin regions containing genes that are not needed for the selected developmental pathway are shut down. Okay, and the environmental factors or signal influence the set of transcription factors expressed by the hematopoietic stem cells and hence determine their fate. So the long term HSCs and short term HSCs, they have these transcription factors. These are the top 10 transcription factors which are present in both of this. Besides this, there are other transcription factors also. So when it develops into MPP, then the transcription factor PU1, GATA1, if these transcription factors are active here, it will develop into myeloid progenitor, means presence of these two are important to develop into myeloid progenitor cells, and presence of Ikaros, it is important to develop into lymphoid progenitor cells. In some cases what happens, this Ikaros transcription factor is not active, so the T and B cells are deficient in those people, and hence they are severely immunocompromised. So the presence of Ikaros transcription factor promote the cells to develop into lymphoid progenitor. Now in myeloid progenitor, presence of GATA1, it will promote the synthesis of erythroid progenitor and hence RBCs, and PU1, it will divert the cell towards the granulocyte monocyte progenitor cells. Now again in the lymphoid progenitor, presence of Notch1 and GATA3, it will help to progress to T cell progenitor cells. Then these transcription factors helps in the development of B cell progenitor cells. So these are the reason why a particular cell types, means though they develop from single stem cell but they have different fate, why each one is developed, why few cells goes into myeloid series, few cell goes into lymphoid series, and here also why that there is differentiation, it depends on these transcription factors present. So the activation of the transcription factor depends on the environment. If there is more of infection, then the particular transcription factor will be generated. For example, if there is heavy blood loss, then this transcription factor will be activated and the erythroid progenitor cell, hence the RBC production will increase. So this is all about regulation of hematopoiesis by transcription factors. Now coming to various cell surface markers, this is also important. These are the various cell surface markers: c-KIT, SCA1, FLT3, CD34, interleukin 7, then FLT3, RAG12, TDT. These are the various cell surface markers which are expressed by the cells. So LTHSC and STHSC, they express only c-KIT and SCA1, means they are c-KIT and SCA1 positive, rest all the markers are absent. Then MPP, it will develop CD34 over it. Then some of the MPP can directly develop into myeloid progenitor cells due to the activation of the transcription factor which we have seen. Now the few MPP, it will develop into lymphoid primed multipotent progenitor, LMPP. So it will develop FLT3 surface marker and the CD34 will be absent here. Then from LMPP, there will be development of early lymphoid progenitor. It will start developing the interleukin 7 receptor over it, and c-KIT, SCA1, FLT3 will be positive in it. Now from this, few cells goes towards the thymus to form T cell progenitor. Then few cells will form common lymphoid precursors, CLP. Here what happens, the c-KIT and SCA will be less, and the cell will first develop into RAG12 will be positive here. Now these cells have lost the capacity to develop into myeloid progenitors, but they can develop into B cell or T cell. So the importance of the surface markers are that these are helpful during the isolation of the various stem cells. I will make a separate video on that particular part, how separation or isolation of hematopoietic stem cells are done. If you have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section below. Thank you.